Recording in progress.
So welcome everyone to our functional conditioning class. So this is the second time we meet live. So appreciate everyone being here on time. So let's go ahead and start with the warm up and then go from there. So if everyone, let's look left to right. So if you remember this class, it's similar to our strength and conditioning class, but we're just adding or implementing some movements that we might be doing on our day-to-day tasks. So that's the only difference. But other than that, just it's like a strength and conditioning class with like a little caveat on day-to-day activity up and down. And then our class at 10 is our balance and stability class. So that's pretty much just balance, some strength, and a little bit of core. So anytime you hear stability, you just want to, whatever keeps you in place, that works to do that, which is usually your posterior chain, the muscles on your back, and your core. Next circles. I have a 9-hour drive later today, so I was just kind of getting my day going. Hello. Hi, Linda. Good morning. Welcome.
Morning.
Good morning. I saw your email this morning, but I also saw that you enrolled, so welcome. Switch. So right now we're going through our warm-up. And as I mentioned earlier, we will be going through a series of exercises that are going to be on that strength and conditioning program, as well as implementing some day-to-day tasks. So let's do our snow angels. So we just want to make sure we don't pull any muscles, strain anything. What else we have here? Good morning, Neelam. Hi, Debbie, Ella.
Good morning.
Good morning. And again, we want to avoid any movements that cause pain or just feel uneasy, or even if they just, you don't like it because the way you just don't feel confident doing it. And if that's the case, then you could always turn on your camera so I could correct your form. But let's bring that right arm across. And remember, if we do any exercises, I might suggest doing 8 to 10 of them, 8 repetitions or 10 repetitions or 15 repetitions. But let's switch. Listen to your body and your current fitness and how your breathing is doing. Maybe there's some days where we wake up and we're tight or fatigued. Maybe we just slept a few hours, so every day is going to be a little different. So just pay attention to those cues. But if you need to take a little bit more rest, let's press up. Could always opt to, take an extra 10, 20 seconds rest. Let's lean right. And as far as the equipment for today, your chair, if you have a yoga mat, and then if you have dumbbells accessible, that'd be awesome. And if you don't have dumbbells, any heavier object, not too heavy, but that you could grip safely, that could work too. Very good. Let's go with trunk rotation. So let's stand shoulder width apart and just gently turn left to right. Does anyone have any questions? Linda, did you have any specific questions? I know it's your first time with us.
No, not at the moment. Thank
Okay,
you.
great. So gently just turn left to right. Remember, when we're stretching, if you increase the speed, you may pull something, so we just want the movement. All right, so same stance, hinge at your hips, lean left, keep your back straight, cut across, and lean back, feel that stretch, and then pump back to the other direction in reverse. And we'll do about 4 on each side. And then we'll meet again tomorrow at 9 a.m. So your second session of the week with slightly different exercises. Very good. Let's go with big hula hoops. So shoulder width stance, and then just big giant hip circles. So just exaggerate how big you're making them. The bigger you make them, the more of a stretch your hip flexors are getting. Switch. Did anyone go on their walks this morning? Some exercise already? Ella ran like 10 miles already. All right.
Just a short walk this morning, but I did an hour of Tai Chi.
There you go. Yeah, I knew it. Nice job. Let's go ahead and stretch our hamstrings. So we're going to slide our hands down to our ankles. Drop your hips down, bending the knees, and then just extend the knees, bring your hips up. So go as low as you can and fully stretch. Let's do 2 more. Very good. And rise up slowly. And our last one for our warm-up is going to be the deep squat stretch. So wide stance and drop your hips as low as you can. You could use your hands to stabilize, and then just torso's upright, comfortable breathing. If you don't get this low, then remember, just go as low as you can. If you want to hold on to a counter to stay safe, you can. You just want to get those hip flexors stretched out. And if you can, you could shift left to right a little bit. And rise. Awesome. Alrighty, so let's go over the workout. So we have 4 blocks today. So remember, each block is just a giant superset. Each block is going to consist of 4 different exercises. Okay. Our first block is going to be dumbbell wood choppers. So if you remember these, we're going to be kneeling, dumbbell at our side, and we're going to reach up and cut down as we're chopping wood. So that's going to work on our obliques and our intercostals by our ribs. Then we're going to do a push-up to side plank. So what that's going to look like is you're going to do a push-up, you're going to reset, and if you can, rotate. And if you're doing these kneeling, again, on your knees, push up, and then just rotate and do reach for the sky. Okay, that's going to be our second one. Next is going to be a goblet curtsy lunge. So you could either have your dumbbell here or a kettlebell, or if like I mentioned, if you don't have one of those items, you could grab a heavier item. It could be a book, it could be a water bottle, a water gallon. Right here, you're going to come across, step back, lunge down, and then opposite. That's going to target your glutes, okay, that lateral glute side. And then we have our bear crawls kick through. Okay, so 2 options for this one. So bear crawl on kick through, Bear crawl position is right here. The kick through is gonna be back. Okay, and then you just switch. If that's too much, I just want you in the quadruped position, and you're gonna be doing donkey kicks. Okay, so those are our four exercises. Any questions before we start? All right, so just gonna have a sip of water. Make sure you have that handy. All right, let's grab the dumbbells, head down to the floor. We're gonna be doing 8 on each side, okay? All right. And for this one, I like holding the dumbbells by both ends. So one dumbbell holding the head of the dumbbell. All right, so I'm here. Right knee is bent in front of me. Start here and reach up diagonally. So right here and come back. That's 1, 2. Remember, when you open up, that's when you inhale, exhale, and inhale as you're coming in. You want to mimic your lungs. So exhale, inhale. I'm going to do one more. Put the dumbbell down. And we'll take about 15 seconds rest as we transition. And remember, in between lifts, we're taking about 30 to 40 seconds rest, so you could recover. Okay, if you're ready, up working that opposite side and come across and down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, so 40 seconds rest. As we're resting, let's go ahead and transition to the floor. So again, I'll demonstrate the exercises that we're going to be doing. So it's going to be a push-up to a side plank, okay? And when we do the side planks, every other one we're switching positions. So first one, we're here, push up, and then rotate with your right. Next push-up, down, and then second one, rotate with your left, okay? The goal is to do 6. We could do anywhere between 5 to 10 of these, okay? So 6 to 8 is the sweet spot, so that's what we want to aim for. So any questions? On our way down, as we're opening up, you want to exhale. As you're coming in or turning, you want to inhale, okay? All right, here we go. So position yourselves. We could do knee-assisted push-ups. Ready, and begin down, up, turn, again, down, up, turn. That's 2. I'm gonna aim for 10. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Very good. Those are a little slower, so each one took about 6 seconds. So get our 30 seconds rest right now. Just gonna log these movements. We did 10 of those. All right, so back on our feet. We have our curtsy lunges. And this one we're gonna do 5 on each leg, okay? So remember, I'll demonstrate. If you don't have the dumbbell or if this is your first time doing these, I would recommend doing the first set just body weight. So you're here, step back and diagonally and down and switch. Okay, you're gonna feel that either on that right glute lateral side or that left lateral glute. All right, here we go. Grab your dumbbell, and begin. So 5 on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. How'd that feel? Any complaints with that one? So remember, that's the one that if you want to have a short workout and really target your glutes and feel like you had a pretty heavy workout, that's one lift that I would recommend, because that really fatigues that glute. All right, and then our next one is the bear crawl donkey kick or the regular donkey kick, okay? So bear crawl donkey kick, it is gonna require a little bit more core work. So that's what extra points you're doing there. So again, remember the difference from the modified regular quadruped donkey kick. You're on your knees here, and your knees and your hands are supporting you. When you're doing the bear crawl, you lift your knees off the ground, and then you can come up this way, okay? All right, so that's gonna be our 2 options. So let me just check the chat real quick. Okay, so good question. So Debbie, you're talking about the curtsy lunge, or just lunges in general?
Most lunges, yeah. Actually, the curtsy one is the easiest for me, but
Okay.
I still have problems with balance.
So that makes sense why the curtsy is easier. So Debbie just mentioned that she has problems with balance with the lunges, and so usually what happens with lunges is if you're stepping wide, your baseline is going to be this small rectangle between both your feet. So that's going to be your base. Now, if you want to make it a little bit bigger, you just go diagonal, but that doesn't help us too much for lateral. So for front or backward lunges, instead of doing them straight back here, what you could do is bring your right leg, if you're stepping back, a little bit more diagonal. Now your base is a little bit wider. So now you eliminate the balance component that you're getting from this one. But if you're just focusing on the actual muscle growth or strength, you want to go a little bit wider. So just think about making your base wider, and that should eliminate some of the balance out of it. So, all right, let's go ahead and do these here. So we're gonna do 5 to 6 donkey kicks on each leg, okay? So either on your knees or bear crawl. Ready? We're here and begin. So again, up towards the ceiling, and we're doing one leg at a time. And when you're done with one leg, switch. This is also activating your arms. Mine are shaking already. And 6. Once you're down, just rest. Get your hands off the ground. Rest them. Okay? Very good. So that's our first set. That's our first block. We're trying to get through 4 of these. All right, so this is where we get 90 seconds to 2 minutes. All right, as we're taking our breaths right now, I'm gonna demonstrate the next movement. So we have dumbbell thrusters. Remember those close stand squat position. Dumbbells are here at your arms. You're gonna squat down with your dumbbells being extended down. On your way up, you curl, come up, and then shoulder press. Okay, so you're here, rotate, and press. That's the dumbbell thruster. Okay, then we're gonna go with the plank shoulder tap. So that's when you're here and you tap your opposite shoulder, okay? Modified, you would just be on your knees and do that, but that really eliminates a lot of it. So what you could do is stack your ankles so you have less of a baseline. So you would just have your hands and then your ankles are crossed. Only one ankle is on the floor. Okay, then we're gonna do a staggered Romanian deadlift. I believe we might have done this one No, this was another class. So dumbbell Romanian deadlift, staggered. So Romanian deadlifts, if you remember, are these here. Slight bend at the knees, that's working the hamstring. Now the staggered, you're gonna stagger your legs. So once they're offset, and then you're going here, and then back up. Remember with this one, if you go far in front of you and you start doing this, you're gonna irritate your back, okay? So keep the dumbbells down, almost in contact with your leg for those. And that's gonna work the hamstring and the glute. And then after that, we have a Superman pull through. So we'll be on the floor. For the folks that can do it on the floor, it's gonna be a W pull through. Elbows come to your side. So you reach up and then pull down, okay? If the floor gets a little bit, if we're getting tired of the floor, you could also come up to a wall and then just go up and then bring your elbows in, okay? So those are our four movements. All right, thrusters. We're doing 8 to 12 of these. Ready? So grab your dumbbells. We're here and begin. So down, rotate, press. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale on your way down, exhale on your way up. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, going for 10, and 10. All right. Adjusting these numbers. Okay. So that's a full body one. So that's a good lift in case you don't have much time for a full workout. You can do that one. You get cardio, you get legs, you get shoulders, you get biceps, and yeah, you're burning calories since it's a cardio. Okay. So we have our shoulder taps. Shoulder taps. We're gonna do this one for time. Okay. So we're just tapping our opposite shoulder while holding a high plank or a kneel plank. All right, we'll start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. So 30 to 40 seconds. So just tap your opposite shoulder. Try not to rock too much. If you're kind of rocking like this a lot, you're gonna eliminate some of that balance away from it. So just try to keep your core steady. We're at 20 seconds. Ten more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. All right, we have our staggered Romanian deadlift. So again, if this is your first time, you could do this with one dumbbell. Okay, I'll demonstrate again. So your feet here are together. Now we're gonna stagger them. So just separate them. So we're gonna do 6 on each leg. You hold your dumbbell with both hands and you keep that handle portion of the dumbbell just running down your leg, really. It could even make contact and come up and then run down and up. Okay, so little cues to pay attention to. Slight bend at the knee. Your back is straight. All of the tilting's happening right here at the hip joint. Okay, so you just go down and then up. You're gonna feel that on your hamstring. We're gonna do 6 on the left leg and 6 on the right leg. So, all right, ready? Stagger your legs, right leg's behind, and begin. So, should take about 3 seconds on the way down and another 2 or 3 seconds to come back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So inhaling on my way down, exhaling on my way up. And 6. Alright. So you can shake off your legs a little bit if they're getting a little tight. Let's go right leg. Slight bend at the knee. Staggered, left leg behind. And begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Ooh, awesome. Alrighty. We did 12 total there. Alright, so Superman's, so we're gonna go belly down, or you could be up against the wall for this one as mentioned earlier. So if you have your yoga mat, set it up. If you're gonna be standing, just make sure your arms don't come away from your wall. Make sure you have a wall with no obstacles. And again, you bring your elbows to your side and you just guide them up. Make sure that the hands are making contact with the wall and keep them against it, okay? Now, if you're on the floor, you're gonna be belly down, okay? Elbows to your side and extend up and down. If you want to challenge yourself a little more, you could elevate your knees off the ground, okay? All right, this is gonna be for time. We're gonna go for 30 seconds. Ready? Position yourselves. We'll start in 3, 2, 1, and go. So fully extend. Elbows to your side, fully extend in front of you. We're halfway there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time. All right. Very good. Giant set number 2 is done. Whew. All right. Anyone sweating yet? I have to take my second shower before noon today. So, all right. First movement's dumbbell lateral to front raises. So dumbbells at your side, here to here, okay? 8 of each. Then we have lateral lunges with balanced knees. So this is gonna be a lateral lunge, and then your balanced knee is gonna be up, okay? You guys got that? So again, you start here, you step, lunge, so drop your hips down, and then right here, if you can, drive that knee up. If we can't do that, the main movement is actually gonna be the lunge. Just make sure you reset before you go on the other side, okay? And make sure you have plenty of room. So we're gonna do 5 on each leg for that. Then we have the wall reach. So again, just find a clear wall, reach on top of it, and then with your calf raising, reach with your arms and raise your calves, and then back down. All right, that's the wall reach calf raise. And then our inchworms, this is gonna be for time. If you remember inchworms, we're gonna go from a standing position, you're gonna crawl into a hand plank, and then you're gonna bring your feet to your hands, stand up, rotate, and repeat back. Okay? Questions? All right, and that last one we're gonna do for 30 to 40 seconds as well. So again, just listen to your body. All right, dumbbell, lateral, and front raises. Grab your dumbbells. All right, ready? And begin. So just shoulder width height. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. You don't want to go past your shoulders. 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, and 8. Alright, catch your breath. Alright, so next one's lateral lunge with the knee drive, okay? So, again, if you want to work on your balance, you're going to go here and then bring that knee up, okay? If that one motion seems a little bit challenging, what you could do is do here, step, and then drive that knee, okay? So, we'll always have modifications. Alright, so we're doing 5 on each side. Ready? And begin. So, lunge, come this way, and drive up, okay? And then lunge, come this way, and drive up. Remember, the main movement is the lunge, so if you have to step down to catch your balance, that's totally fine. I'm gonna keep that torso upright. Yeah, the balance component on it does make it more challenging. Oof. I'm at 4 for my left. All right, one more on my right, and one more on my left. There you go. Good stuff. Make sure you're drinking water, have that nearby. Weather's getting a little warmer. Whew. All right, so next is gonna be our wall reach with our calf raise. So pretty much just go up against the wall, reach as far as you can, and then calf raise, okay? So gain that calf raise, but at the same time, since your arms are being extended, we're stretching out the muscles out here under our underarms, our intercostals, our obliques. Ready? We're doing 10 to 12 of these. And begin. Try to pause at the top position for a second before you come back down. Whew. 12 of those. And now we have our inchworms. Okay, so remember these. So crawl out into a hand plank and then step back into your hands and come here. If you want burn a little bit more cardio, you just want to jump at that end position. Okay, you get a nice little calf raise out of it. All right, this is for time, so we're doing 30 to 40 seconds. Okay. 3, 2, 1, and begin. We're at 15 seconds. We're at 30 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time. Whew. Very good. All right, going into block number 4. Are you giving me thumbs up, Josefina? Thumbs up, okay. Whew. All right. Is anyone else sweating? I'm sweating. I hope I'm not the only one sweating. I just had a hot coffee too, so that could have triggered it. All right, Debbie's sweating good. have a thumbs up. Remember, you can always respond with an emoji or unmute yourself. Any questions so far? Oh. Any aches? Alrighty, so this fourth set, we'll probably go through this and start our cool down, okay? So we have our dumbbell suitcase walking lunge. So this is where we keep one dumbbell just on one side and we walk and do a walking lunge, okay? Now, like Debbie, you mentioned the balance for this one. What you could do, instead of walking straight, you could just angle out, and then that's gonna make your base a little bit better, okay? So we're gonna do 10 of those. Well, 5 holding it on the right hand and 5 holding it on our left hand. Then we're gonna go ahead and do a crab bridge toe tap. So that's if you're here, what you could do is just tap your opposite heel. If we can't do that, what I want you to do is just a static crab position here. So you're just gonna hold yourself up. So hips off the ground, supporting with your arms and your feet. That's our second one. Then we have a plank roll. So 2 options for this one. You could just do a regular plank, and the plank roll would be to roll on your side, rolling your hips side to side, working on your obliques a little bit more. And our last one's gonna be our fast feet, which is you just find a line on the floor and you just alternate tapping on it. Okay, 4 exercises, and we should be good after we'll do our cool down. All right, grab that dumbbell. All right, ready, and begin. So lunge, reset, make sure you reset. You don't want to just walk into the next one. Remember, you can make your step a little bit wider. Once you've done 5, switch hands of your dumbbell. And we're good. All right. That was a total of 10. What do we have next? Our crab bridge stance, okay? So this one, we're gonna go for time. Let me start this timer because I won't be able to see my watch from my position. So remember, if you can't do the opposite toe tapping while you're being elevated, then you just hold this static position, okay? Try to hold it for time. And if you can, try to touch that opposite, but safety first, let's not fall. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and go. So again, here, I'm just tapping my opposite toe. We're at 20 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time. Whew. All right, our plank rolls, we remain on the floor. This is also for time. Remember, this would just be a regular plank. You could also do a high plank if you like. So a high plank would be your feet and your hands are supporting you. Regular forearm plank is just elbow to wrist and your toes. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and go. So if you're doing the plank rolls, just remember to rotate your hips side to side. Ten more seconds. 3, 2, 1, time. Oh man, now I'm really sweating. Whew. Alright, and then fast feet. This is also for time. So we're gonna go for 30 seconds. And that's just gonna be here. You just tap real quick, okay? So we're just tapping from here, getting on our toes. Try to be off your heels. So it's almost like a little back and forth, like jump rope that you're doing. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, and go. So just tap. Halfway there. 15 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, time. How many calories was that? 210 calories. High five, everyone. I'm gonna stop the recording right now because I may